Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Categorically Romance podcast. My name is Bree, and today I am joined by the lovely Ann McIntosh. She is back, and thank you for joining me, especially while you're on vacay right now. So thank you for sharing some of your vacation time with me.
You're very welcome. I'm always happy to talk to you guys.
Thank you. So, okay, tell me how, you have a wonderful book out, you're on vacation. So, I'm assuming life is good for you, but tell me how 2023 thus far overall has been.
It's I don't know. I'm still processing a lot of it, I think.
Hmm.
Um I'm very kind of emotionally driven, and I've changed editors at Harlequin. It's always rough when your editor moves on to greener pastures. Um so there's been that. My hubby's gonna have some he has to have knee surgery coming up. So that's another thing that's been kind of a bit stressful. But frankly, the year's been pretty good. Why am I complaining? Well, except for the 120-degree weather in Florida sometimes. you
That'll
know,
give you a
li-
lot to complain about. That'll give you a lot.
but there's always air condition.
There is, but everybody's like, go out, enjoy the summer. And it's like when you live in a southern state, you're like, yeah, no.
No, we'll go out and enjoy the winter.
Yeah. My local weather station, I have an app for them, and they're basically like, yeah, stay inside, stay hydrated. I'm like, oh my gosh, my summer's just dwindling down.
I know, right? We are very lucky to have a swimming pool, and this is the time of year when we really, really use it. I mean,
Yeah.
I turn into an absolute prune. I'm just in there. I'm like, honey, I think I should get out. I think my feet are starting to strip, but it's just so nice in here.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned getting a new editor. So, when you get a new editor, does it feel like, obviously you're establishing a new relationship, building all new rapport, but do you actually notice the differences? One editor would prefer things a certain way, or does it feel very much like you can tell that they've either worked together? Is it an easy transition?
Not not always. This is the first change that I've had since I've been at Harlequin, and I haven't handed in my first book to her yet, so I'm not sure
Okay.
how she will how her what her editing style is. But I know in the past, in other with other companies that I've worked with, normally what happens is that an editor reads your work and really loves it, and so it's sort of like already a built-in safety net, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
You know that this person really likes what you're doing, so when they critique and when they give you feedback, you know that they're doing it because they think that they can make certain parts of the book or certain elements of the book better. When that person leaves and then you have somebody new, it's sometimes it can be a difficult transition. I'm not saying that this is going to be a difficult transition, because I'd like to give my new editor all the opportunity in the world, and I'm hoping that she's giving me all the opportunity in the world for us to be able to work together. And she's been very understanding. I've had to push back a deadline, and she has been absolutely amazing about that. And that's something that I think most writers, I know I hate to do it. So she was very understanding about what I was going through, and allowed me to push back my my deadline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that already endears her to me. She didn't make a big deal out of it. She just said, I'm really sorry you're going through this stuff. Let me see what I can come up with. And she talked to the editorial staff. And that's the nice thing about working with a publisher, is because Harlequin, they have enough authors, I think, that they can do things like that. They can shuffle things around a little bit and not mess up the whole system. But it's not something that, as a writer, you want to take advantage of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that I think editors obviously are such a huge part of the process, such an important part of the process. So, yeah, I,
Massive.
I just appreciate you sharing that. I'm always like, what little business questions can we ask for any aspiring writers that they may not think of? And I think understanding that your editor isn't always going to be the same is I think something we're like aware of, but you just don't think that it's going to happen that often because you do
Exactly.
hear those one-offs of people that are like, yeah, I had the same editor for like 15 years. And it's like, no, in some cases, like some editors do move on, you know?
Yeah, and it's I mean there are so many different reasons why that happens. In a our world is mostly female driven, not all female driven, but mostly female driven. And a lot of the editors are younger women as well. So it might be maternity leave, it might be that they're marrying and they're moving somewhere else. There are all of these different things that you have to remember can happen. And they deserve a life of their own, right? So if a
Yeah.
better opportunity comes along, I'm not going to begrudge them that at all. But it is for somebody, as I said, like me, I'm very sort of emotionally driven when I'm working with people. That does tend to kind of set me on my heels, as they say, because I've gotten used to my ex editor. She was amazing. She was lovely, and I enjoyed working with her. So that kind of is a bit of it kind of sets me back a little bit emotionally. But
Mhm.
as I said, I'm definitely trying to give my new editors all the benefit of the doubt
Yeah,
possible.
she's gonna be great. She's gonna be great. We're rooting for you, new editor. Congratulations on twin babies to reunite them. I really, really loved this book. So before I get into the questions, would you give us a quick summary? Like, how would you describe it to anyone who hasn't read it yet?
It is probably the most trope heavy book I've ever written. I was thinking about that last night and I was like, okay, so it's Cinderella, it is secret baby or surprise babies, it is reunited love. There's so much going on in this book.
It's like a fake marriage between an actual married couple, which I
Yes.
loved. I mean, in a way, I mean, and Doctor Sanai, I called her Sanai. Is that how you pronounced it, or no?
I in my head she's Sana.
Okay, she to me, I'm like, well, she's kind of like billionaire. It's like a billionaire romance in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Kenzie is like this sort of Cinderella, reluctant Cinderella,
Hmm.
character. So yeah, I was laughing to myself last night. I said I should write this down. you know? And then we have a competition between all of the authors, how many tropes can you get into a book? Yeah.
Were you aware that okay, well, let me start here. How did the romance between the two of them come together, Dr. Amory and Mackenzie?
I started out, I wanted one of those sort of polar opposite couples when I decided I was going to put together the outline that I gave to my editor, which was eventually accepted. And of course, financial matters can be such a minefield in relationships. But then I wanted it that Sana kind of has that impulsive side to herself that she really tries to keep under wraps. And
Yeah.
Kenzie's the one who just sort of breaks through all of that, and she's like, let's get married while they're in Las Vegas. Because okay, it's corny, but people do it.
People
you
do
know
it. Yeah.
but yeah, it started out with the sort of the polar opposite because Kenzie is very methodical because she has to be because of her background. And Sana has a lot more leeway because of her background. And that's sort of where I started with the whole Vegas wedding thing.
Okay.
And then I was like, no, but could this relationship really actually work in real life? And I don't know how much more you want me to say about it, but that was where it began.
Yeah, I think and hearing you say that, having read the book, I think that is such a big I mean, like obviously like when you're reading romance, I personally I'm like, okay, I love that feeling in the beginning of like these two people would never be together.
Yeah.
And in the book we learn very quickly they already technically are together, but they've been separated for a while because of reasons. And then the more that you introduce the conflict, it really is, I think, two people. Well, especially Mackenzie. From Mackenzie's point of view, you get that idea that like these are two people that just do not need to be together. Like her belief is like, I do not belong here. I do not belong with this person, kind of thing.
Yep.
So I mean, I'd love to hear you talk about writing both of them because I think I loved Sana because I loved she really tried to maintain control, and I think it really came from a place of fear. She
Yes.
didn't wanna be hurt, but she's so strong, and then I love Mackenzie with, like, her cowboy boots and her just, like, country girl vibe.
Yeah.
But she's pregnant, and there's a lot of conflict and situations going on with that, so can you talk about writing them individually?
It was really an interesting experience. Sometimes as a writer you find yourself writing characters that are very familiar to you because maybe you've already written something similar, but I don't think I've ever really written two people quite like these two. So as I'm writing, I was very aware of making sure that there's that push and pull, that Sana's used to a certain standard of living and a certain way of doing things. And she's learned that she needs to, as you said, be in control all the time. Kenzie is more methodical because she wants to make sure that she does not end up having, destroying her life, which she knows from experience can very easily happen. So there was always that sort of feeling of, okay, so what situation can I put these two in that is going to exacerbate these issues, and how can they both grow to recognize the fact that a lot of the stuff that they fear is not it's not actually what they think they fear. It is, on one hand, the loss of control, and on the other hand, it is the loss of independence. I think was a big thing. It was a lot of fun. I have to say, it was a lot of fun, and it was also a lot of fun writing two women in a relationship,
Yeah.
because when you write a man and a woman, you always try to imbue the man with, quote unquote, masculine qualities, or whatever, however you want to look at it. I've written male romances in the past, and I enjoyed that too, because when you sort of put two men together, one doesn't always have to be feminine, if
Mhm.
you understand what I mean, for it to be a relationship of two men. And I think with the two women, I hope that I did them both justice as women in love with each other. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I think you did. I think with one of the things that really bothered Mackenzie was their class difference. Was that an easy like did when she kind of came to you, did you know that was going to be part of the conflict for her?
Yes.
Okay.
Growing up in Jamaica, we have we have always had a class uh, issue, and I hope I don't get blowback from other Jamaicans for saying that, but it's the truth. We've always
Mhm.
had a class issue. It's much better than it was when I was a young person, but again, when you leave your own milieu and you are put in with other people who have lived a totally different lifestyle to you, it can be very disorienting. It can be very almost debilitating. And I wanted to show that yes, sometimes it's difficult, but it doesn't have to be a deal breaker. And I drew on the experiences of my youth in Jamaica, and even here in, when I lived in Canada. Not so much. I haven't really experienced that very much down in America now that I live down in the States, but mainly because I'm localized there. I'm not moving around a lot recently. But yeah, I drew on that experience, not just to write Mackenzie, but also to get her through, get her over that hurdle in the relationship. Because let's face it, I mean, if somebody who doesn't have money, who is not driven by money, gets involved in a relationship with someone who has a great deal of money, there's always going to be that push and pull, and that having to get over the restrictions that you had in your life from before, and also get over the feeling that, well, am I contributing at all to this relationship? Because we're so driven, you know, everything nowadays tends to be about money,
Mhm.
but it shouldn't always be about money when you're in love, or when you're getting married, or when you're in a relationship with someone who has a different socioeconomic background from you. And I wanted to bring that out too.
Yeah, one of the things I loved was, like, when you're reading it, Sana doesn't, like, rub her wealth in Mackenzie's face. I don't She doesn't even really realize, I think, that it bothers Mackenzie, or that it just, like, makes her a little uncomfortable. And with Mackenzie, I think a lot of, 'cause, like, billionaire romances are so popular, and they're so fun to read, the fantasy of, like, somebody just, or even millionaire, whatever, just, like, being able to, like, wash away your problems with money.
Yeah,
And Mackenzie she has that with Sana, but it's almost like, and that it felt very realistic, like, coming from where she's come from, you really captured how that was uncomfortable for her. Like, I don't want you to just make everything go away with your money. And so you kind of
right.
see the push and pull of, like, Sana having to, like, wake up and realize how that bothers her. And also, Mackenzie having to realize, like, she has no idea that this bothers me.
Yeah, and also I made a concerted effort to have at some point that realization on Sana's part that, you know, yeah, I kind of was expecting that she would be grateful for this, you
Right,
know?
yeah.
And that's not the reality of it. So, now I have to do a mental shift and you know figure out how I'm going to work through this, because if you grow up with a lot of money, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean the same to you, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
It can just be like, oh yeah, I want to do this, I'm going to do it. Where the vast majority of us are not, we don't have that ability, so and her generosity of spirit meant that she just wanted to just give Mackenzie whatever, you know.
When we were chatting, back when we were talking about, like, recording together, and you said you were nervous about this one, so talk to us about that. Like, what were you nervous about? Why were you nervous?
It's always okay. I told you this before when we spoke before. My mother read Harlequin
Mhm.
romances and Mills and Boon romances. The concept of having a same-sex romance on the shelf when she's gone, if she went to buy a book, would be unheard of in her day. And this, I think, if you don't count Karina, which has been doing, same-sex romances all along, sort of from the beginning, I think this is the first lesbian romance published by Harlequin and Mills and Boon. I mean,
Mm.
somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I know there are a couple more coming out later in the year, but I think this is the first one. And
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
so being the first anything is nerve wracking. But in particular, I think this is such an important thing to do. I really wanted to do it well, and I really wanted it to be well received, although I know it won't be in every corner. I'm not naive enough to think that. But yeah, I was nervous about actually having that come out. Just about how people would receive it, and how it would play, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. I can totally see both of them just coming to you, like, "You need to write our story, and this is who we are." Was it that, or was it the desire to, like, "I want to write a medical romance between 2 women?"
The editorial staff came out, and this was probably not last year, maybe the year before, and said that they were open to diverse stories, including same-sex relationships. And when they said that, I was so happy, because I feel like it's long overdue, to be honest with you. And I immediately sat down and I did a couple of outlines. This one, and a male romance,
Mhm.
and sent them to my editor. And she came back and she said they thought that there was another male romance already in the works for the medical line. So would I develop this book? and I was just so thrilled, to be honest with you. I'm just so happy to see the lines opening up in that way.
Yeah.
Yes, we've started. We're making strides with the diversity, the ethnic diversity, and all of that. That's been going on for a while, but I think this is long overdue. And I was scared, but I'm also thrilled to be the one that sort of be the Kool-Aid man kicking down the door. you know.
I just
But
love seeing the cover with, like, 2 women of color, clearly,
yeah,
like, cover models, but, like, their embrace, like, Mackenzie's smile, how Sana's, like, kissing her cheek, like, it's such a sweet cover. I
I
love the
was
cover.
I was very happy with the cover. I was very happy with the cover because I wanted it to be, you know, I didn't want one of those covers that when somebody reads it, they go, "Well, yeah, it was a good book, but the cover doesn't look anything like," you know
Who
what I
I
mean?
imagined, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't, like, unsee them. I was like, "Okay, these 2 women are Sana and Mackenzie." So, what are you working on now?
I don't know if you know, but in the past, I have developed a few stories set in a fictional Caribbean island. And I love those because, of course, I'm from the Caribbean. So when I get a chance to do those, I get a chance to kind of create the ideal, the ideal living situation in the
Mhm.
Caribbean. So I'm working on a book like that. But also, I have a Christmas story coming out at the end of the year. That's, I mean, already finished and done and dusted. The Nurse's Holiday Swap.
Oh my gosh. Can you
And
tell us about it or no?
yeah, well, I will bust this out and tell you that the hero is pansexual,
Okay.
and the heroine is from Hawaii. Yeah. So it's a four-book continuity set in a children's hospital in Boston.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love a medical continuity during the holidays. This is gonna be
Yes.
so fun.
They and we have it all. We have dogs and cute kids
I
and the whole nine.
know. Medical has been killing it in 2023. Like, every month when I get on Harlequin's website, I mean, I don't even have to read I don't honestly, I don't even read the summaries. The covers alone, I've been like, "Okay, well,
Okay,
y'all
I
are
need
just
that one.
taking all my money.
Yes, I need this one.
I just need them all." Well, I am so excited. I can't wait for the nurses holiday swap. Like, I will be keeping my eye out for that. That's so I cannot wait. I love. And the thing about medical that I love about y'all's continuities is you don't make us wait. Like, usually we'll get like 2 of them in 1 month, maybe the next 2 in the next month. Like, sometimes you get them all at one time. Like, I just love that we don't have to wait very long for those.
I think this continuity, it's two, I want to say two in October and two in November,
Okay.
or
Oh
two
my
in November, two in December. Yeah, so it will be good.
I'll have to get, like, all 4 of you that wrote in the continuity on here together.
Oh, that would be funny.
That would be so fun.
We have Tracy Douglas, I think Juliet Highland,
This is getting really fun. Okay.
and I want to say Deanne Anders. I'm just looking it up real quick
Okay.
because I think that is the
And so they're all holiday themed or no?
oh yeah,
Oh
um
my gosh.
but in different ways. In different ways. Boston Christmas Miracles is what it's called. So, oh, it looks like, yeah. So, two in November, Juliet Highlands, Puppy on the 34th Ward, and My Nurse's Holiday Swap. Those come out in November. And then The Surgeon's Christmas Baby by Deanne Anders, and Home Alone with the Children's Doctor by Tracy Douglas.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I gotta get all 4 of y'all on. We have to talk in December. So I've had time to read all 4 of the book. I can't wait.
I'm quite sure that would be a lot of fun.
I know that would be a blast. I've been wanting to do something like that, so we'll have to do that. Tell everybody where they can keep up with you online.
Uh, I am on Instagram. To be honest with you, I've kind of taken a step back from social media a bit.
Mhm.
I mean, I still keep up with. It's funny, you know, you lose sight of people and then you get back in touch with them on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and then suddenly you're back in each other's lives. So I enjoyed that aspect of social media. But to be honest with you, I've not had a lot of time to do a lot on either Facebook or Instagram, which are the two places that I'm usually on. I
That's
hate to
okay.
be
You're
that.
living life. So you're living
I hate
life.
to be. I hate to be that author, but yeah.
It's okay.
If you're looking for constant updates from me, you're not going to get them, unfortunately.
That's fine. Well, thank you for being here today. Everybody, you have to go get your copy of Twin Babies to Reunite Them. It's a gorgeous cover. It's a gorgeous emotional book. Yes, and you're so right with it's just I was realizing it the past couple days like prepping for this. I was like it is full of like so many delicious tropes. And I don't think I
Forced pro-
realized it as I was reading it.
I forgot the forced proximity part too,
Forced
right?
proximity, surprise baby, reluctant Cinderella. I didn't even think of that one until you said it. Yes, it's so good. So
Oh,
thank you, Anne. I can't wait to chat with you again.
thank you very much for having me on again. And you take care.